Welcome to the Build Your Coaching Business Around the 9 to 5 podcast. I'm your coach, Pamela Pritchard, and I help you go from employee to business owner. Whether you're creating your first client or learning how to create clients on repeat whilst holding down your day job, I'll help you make your business dreams a reality. Let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am jumping on live today because I wanted to give you an update on the Business Breakthrough Challenge that my one-to-ones are currently doing inside my Thrive One-to-One program. And some of the discussions have been so rich and so fruitful and really got my clients thinking. And I wanted to share with you what went down in week 2, because not everybody started at the same time. And it's been running for a couple of weeks. We're already in week 3 and there's 2 more weeks of it. But Business Breakthrough was a challenge that I initially set in August, and it's running through September as well at the time of this recording. But anybody that joins Thrive has access to it and they can activate it at any time. So if they wanted to, they can jump right on in. And I have been taking them through this aspect of CEO embodiment that I speak so frequently about, because of course there are the business foundations, there's the groundwork that you should have in place in your business in order for the basics of business mechanics to work, so that you can physically have the things in place to create clients, make money, grow your business, etc., etc. But then there is the embodiment, enjoying the business you have, enjoying the process of growing, and then obviously in time scaling your business, and actually just having so much fun with what you create, what we get to do as coaching business owners. Because going into this, all of us, we all wanted to be life coaches, right? We wanted to coach all day, every day. We wanted to do the thing that we love the most. And then for most coaches, the business side was a bit of a shock to the system, and recognizing that selling, marketing is actually probably 50% of the business, and the other 50% of the business is delivery. And obviously there's operational aspects, finance, other thing like, delivery. There's lots of different aspects to the business. It's not just marketing and delivery. There's obviously more to running a business than that. But in terms of most of your energetic effort and time, it's generally spent either in actually coaching clients and then marketing and selling. And this is the thing, like, you get to a stage in your business where you truly are scaling, that it isn't like you can add more hours to the day. There are only a finite amount of hours in the day, so you can only have so many one-to-one clients. So at some stage, it makes sense that you scale into one-to-many, going from one-to-one to one-to-many. That's the very typical model. Not everybody has to go that way. It doesn't have to be that path. But if you really look at just the pure mechanics of what's available to us in this 3D world with the limitations of a 24-hour day, there are so many hours in the day. And so once you've maxed that out, whether you've maxed out the hours or maxed out your capacity, then it's okay, how do I make more money? How do I make more with what I have? And that's what all coaches are generally thinking, even when they're at day 1. They want to maximize the most with what they have. And that is where the identity work comes in, the embodiment comes in, and increasing your capacity so that you can do more with what you have. That's where you literally can say to yourself, okay, well, I've got to a stage where I have 10 to 15 one-to-one clients. That's my sweet spot. For some of you who are highly energetic and you have more energy and more capacity, maybe your sweet spot's like 20, 22 clients per week. It's 22 hours of one-to-one clients. You'll get to a stage where you're like, okay, I literally need hours to sleep, to eat, to exercise, to be with the kids, be with my partner, go and date, go have a life, as well as do marketing and selling. So there is a point where you max out, right? And so when my clients come to me and they're like, okay, I'm at this stage now where the money's starting to come in, the clients are coming in, and I'm feeling a little bit nervous about getting to max capacity, to getting to that stage where I can either scale, and or they're just thinking, okay, even 3 or 4 clients feels like I'm at max capacity. Now I need to figure out how to increase my capacity so that I can get to fully booked, so that I can get to the stage where I'm starting to feel this desire to have masterminds, to have groups, to do more with my business. And I know that I'm maybe getting ahead of myself and I need to grow my capacity and my identity right here, right now. So the Business Breakthrough Challenge was really intended to help my clients recognize everything that they do have in their business, to be in the breakthrough of how beautiful, of how miraculous it is that not only did we choose this path of personal growth, personal development, and becoming more, asking more of ourselves, asking more of the life that we've built, of actually creating something extraordinary, not just staying on the path that we should have done, not just staying on the career ladder that we were meant to stay on and getting to the top of the ladder and then retiring and letting that be good enough, but actually saying to ourselves, what if? What if I can do more? What if I can have more? What if I can be more? And so week 1 of the Business Breakthrough Challenge was being in breakthrough, living in breakthrough, being in the miracle of the fact we get to do this, that we get to be this, that we get to have this, and that we get to facilitate this for other people, and connecting to the magic of what it is to do the kind of work that we do. Then week 2 is romanticize your life. And as I said at the beginning, it has been fascinating to see the reactions and the responses from some of my clients. Everyone's responded slightly differently. Not everyone is doing it. That's absolutely fine. But those who had the capacity to do it and wanted this as an extra bit of a booster, a little bit of an activator for them to just reconnect, turn things on, have a bit of a momentum, have something else to focus on. Because it's, we're novelty. We're creatures. We're part of the human race. We have a human disposition. We like novelty. It's good to spice things up a bit. So that's why I do these challenges, right? So they're entirely optional. But for my clients who did do it, Romanticize Your Life has been an activator. It has been very interesting. I called it Romanticize Your Life. I didn't think too deeply about it. It's just a way that I like to roll. I am a classic 80s baby. I was born in the 80s. I grew up in the era. This is where it came from for me, okay? And maybe you can relate if you're a similar age or a little bit older. You came from the era where, like, the chick flicks of the 90s and the noughties, the feel good movies, the like 13 going on to 30, the practical magics, the any movie with like Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, basically. Honestly, I grew up with that stuff. I loved it. And I look back and some of it hasn't aged very well, and that makes me sad. But I look back on those movies and I just think, like, what a time to be alive. Like the whole like coming of age movies for women, finding themselves, finding love, finding their confidence, doing their own thing, like choosing their own way. I've just always romanticized my life. Plus, obviously being an 80s, 90s kid, I grew up in the era of Princess Disney. Like, talk about romanticizing your life. We were told, we were like raised on this idea of romanticism, of finding the Prince Charming and being rescued. And for I think for many life coaches who are my age, especially, or really found a connection to that era, then there has been an evolution in our psyche. There has been a development of like, wait a minute, we're not damsels in distress. We are actually very capable, highly intelligent, yeah, highly resourceful women. Anything a man can do, we can do. Like the age of equality came in as we were growing up. Like all of this stuff happened. It's a very interesting era for women of my age in our like 30s, 40s. And actually, like the millennial to arguably the who's the era before us? Oh my God, I've blanked. But this era of being a woman, I think, is very interesting. Like our coming of age, our empowerment, us standing in our power. And with all of that being the background that I come from and a bit of my context, something that I do and I've always done, I did this when I first moved to London, okay? And any of you who have come from a relatively small city or small town and you've moved to a major city and you did the career thing like I did, like maybe you got the degree, you got the grad you got the grad, like brownie points. You landed your first big job in corporate, or your big, even if it isn't corporate, you landed the profession. Maybe you qualified to be a nurse or a doctor, or you became a lawyer, or whatever it is that you did. And then you worked your way up. And with that came some big decisions. Maybe you invested in your first home. Maybe you moved to the big city. Maybe you did the thing where you settle down and you have a family and you have kids or whatever. And for me, I remember there were these pivotal moments in my life where I look back and honestly, it is like a chick flick from the noughties. I remember the first time that I went to London, and I had this night. It was something out of a movie. I was with an ex, obviously, well, at the time he was my boyfriend. He was a lawyer in the city, and well, a lawyer in training at the time. He didn't actually become a lawyer. He went into business development, which is really interesting. But his dad was like a managing partner, and he came from money, and I thought that was really fucking cool. And he took me to London, and we had a night. We went to see The Lion King at the Lyceum Theatre in Holborn. Um, Arguably Covent Garden, depends like what side of the road you're on. We went to St. Paul's. There's this stunning rooftop bar where you buy cocktails, and there's a beautiful view of St. Paul's. Then we went to what's it called? A Duck and Waffle over at Liverpool Street. By the way, I made that walk. Those of you who know London, that is like a good maybe mile, 2 mile walk that I did in high heels. This is the kind of shit you do in your 20s, right? Like I would never do that now. It was a night to remember. And I remember being stood at the top of that cocktail bar in St. Paul's, overlooking St. Paul's, thinking, oh my God, I want to move here. I want to be that London girl. I want this life. I want to do this. I want to have these romantic dates in the big city. And look, within a year, I did. I literally did. I made it happen. I got a promotion. I ended up at first, I made a life where I curated the life I had to be the life I wanted. So my current job at the time was based in a small city called Exeter. And I negotiated that I would also do the recruitment in the London office. So I started traveling to London frequently, and I could do that. And I would time it so that my London trips were Thursdays and Fridays and Mondays. And so I would use that as an excuse to go to be there with my boyfriend, because he also lived between London and Exeter. And I would travel between the two. And oh my gosh, I made it so romantic. Like everything I did was like something out of a movie. And then 6 months later, I decided to go all in. I looked for the job. I got like a 10K increase, which at the time was fucking huge. Got a 10K increase on my salary and negotiated a office overlooking the Thames. Literally, it was the dream office. I got an apartment in next to Borough Market. So it was literally like something out of Bridget Jones. And then my commute to work was walking that like mile to the office every day. I would cross London Bridge or Southwark Bridge, do the walk along South Bank or Bankside. I would watch the sunrise over London or over Tower Bridge from London Bridge. It was, oh my gosh, it was just life. It was just everything. I was so in love with everything. And that's how I approached London. I lived in London for 8 years and I loved it. I loved every second of it until I didn't. And until I started craving nature, I was craving trees, I was craving greenery. I remember I was like living in Canary Wharf during the pandemic, and I would go for a walk along the Thames, and there would be this particular section which had a cobbled street, and there were like trees lining it. And I used to like look at the concrete tower buildings of Canary Wharf, and I'd be like, oh, I love the big city, I love the big life. That's what I wanted when I first moved there. Then I started like fantasizing about the trees, and I'd look at the line of trees, and then I'd imagine the like forests with trees all in between and a lake going through the forest. And when I realized that I was like romanticizing the idea of that, that's when I started really craving leaving London, leaving the UK, coming to a place that was tropical, coming to a place that had forest and beach. And lo and behold, a year later, I'm leaving. I'm going all in on my business. I'm leaving the country. I'm traveling around New Zealand. At the time, Australia borders were closed. I didn't even know if I would get into the country. Obviously, the day my visa expired in New Zealand is the day that the Australia borders opened. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Like, I literally manifested the life I have because everything that I ever wanted, I would fantasize and I would dream about, and that would become the next dream. So I always have said from day one, like, dreams are built on dreams. Dreams are built on dreams. And there was once upon a time where you were never meant to have a coaching business. You didn't even know coaching existed. All you knew was the career you had, the life you had, and whatever the next natural step was meant to be. Maybe it was for you, it was meant to be that you settle down and you just be thankful for your job. Maybe for you, it was meant to be the next promotion. Maybe for you, it was, oh, you work for this company. Now, the natural next step is that you were meant to just go work for the nearest competitor and you were meant to just go work over there, or maybe change department, or go try the same job in another country and do a secondment or something. Maybe that was what you were meant to do. Once upon a time, your life didn't even have coaching in it. And now it does. Now this is who you're meant to be. This is where you're meant to go. Something happened. Something happened, and then your trajectory changed. And there is something very magical about that. There is something very, very special about that. And so when you find yourself at the time of this recording, it's the end of the month, we're going into a new month, and my one-to-one clients will know I invite them to do a monthly review, a monthly reflection, and then plan for the next month, so that they can contemplate like what they've done this month, what they've achieved, where they're at, what was going well, all that good stuff. And then we look at setting a fresh goal, having a clean slate, and then setting a new intention for what the next month is going to be, so that they can either reconnect, reestablish some desire, reestablish momentum, have a clean slate if they need to, or continue the momentum, keep it running. This is the beautiful thing, right? You can make anything work for you. So sometimes you'll get to this stage in the month, you need a fresh start. Other times you're like, nah, I'm loving it. It's going, it's happening. I'm in the middle of something. The launch is happening. The momentum's growing. I'm feeling the connection. Let's keep this rolling. So you can make it work for you no matter what. But we take the time to just, as you do, like when you stop off on a journey at the petrol station, just stretch the legs, refuel, check the map, make sure where you're going is correct. And then when you get back in, you can just reconnect, get rid of all the rubbish that kind of somehow is littered in the passenger seat. Put on a fresh radio station, get the excitement going again, and off you go and you carry on the journey, right? So this is what we do every month. And with the Business Breakthrough Challenge, this idea of romanticizing your life and romanticizing your business, like I say, it's been so interesting to see the way it's landed for some people. Now you know the context, especially for my one-to-one clients who haven't heard this yet. So now you know the context of where this idea of romanticizing your life even comes from. For me, it's just very much part of how I roll, a bit of my personality, a little bit of like what makes me tick. What's been fascinating is that some of my clients who are very similar to me in age or mentality or preferences and likes and movie choices, you've really rolled with it too, and that's amazing. And I've also had a handful of clients who hear the phrase romanticize and it isn't part of their personality. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, what I happen to do is not better or worse. There is no hierarchy, there is no better or worse here. But what I want to acknowledge is that, yeah, for some of you, romanticize your life or romanticize your business doesn't land for you. And it's curious, okay? It's curious. And I want you to explore that. What is it about romanticizing something that doesn't resonate? Is it because it just isn't something that you've really contemplated before? And maybe this is an opportunity to do so. And for others of you, maybe there's resistance. Maybe there are wounds with the idea of romanticizing your life, because for you, romanticizing your life is very close to romantic relationships. And maybe that is an area of wounding for you. And even if it isn't, again, like I say, maybe it's just something you've never contemplated, but maybe it's an area of wounding for you. And, or maybe you are circumstantially navigating something that is painful right now. And the idea of romanticizing your life is actually the last thing you fucking need. And if that's the case, put it down, put it away. It's okay. But for those of you who have the capacity, you're not dealing with any open wounds and it's more just scars, and actually it's made you contemplate, maybe there is a romantic connotation here that does feel uncomfortable, then this is an opportunity to connect to the beauty of life, because romanticizing something doesn't mean not being realistic. It doesn't mean not having eyes wide open to things. It doesn't mean losing your discernment or losing your resourcefulness or capabilities and just becoming some freaking damsel in distress. No, I am not saying that. This is the 21st century, and we've all had a lot of growing up to do compared to the kind of shit that Disney told us princesses are capable of. Actually, princesses are capable of a whole fucking lot more. And I want to take a stand for that. Like, we can have high standards. I think romanticizing your life is holding your life to a standard where if shit hits the fan, yeah, you deal with it. And you still hold the magic and the capability of seeing the beauty and the joy and the miracle of it all. And so, as I was describing to my clients in the different ways, and I'm going to share this with you as well, these are the different ways that you can think about romanticizing your life. And I want you to lean into this, especially if the word romanticizing feels activating for you. This is what, for me, romanticizing your life actually means. And for me, it is number one, noticing the good intentionally and on purpose. Noticing the good intentionally and on purpose. Where do you do or not do this in your business? That's something to really think about, because it's very often I see with coaches across the board, and I sometimes catch myself do this, right? And this is the work, is actually recognizing, oh my gosh, I get to do this. I get to have this. There is so much good all around me. There are so many possibilities all around me. Where can I look for it intentionally and on purpose? The more you do that, because there are some people in this life, and maybe this is you, maybe you err on the side of caution. Maybe you err on the side of, well, if things are going to go wrong, they're going to go wrong. Maybe for you it's about, oh, actually I am a pessimist and I've had good reason to be, because these things have happened in my childhood and it's made me a more cautious person. And for that reason, the way my life seems to be is that me being able to look 5 steps ahead, 10 steps ahead, 20 steps ahead has always served me. You adding this skill isn't at the effect of the skill I just described. You knowing how to find the good intentionally and on purpose isn't at the expense of you being able to see where things could go wrong and mitigate for that. But it also means that that doesn't become your experience of it either. Your experience of it gets to be that you've got your shit together and everything has been planned and everything has been thought out and considered, and therefore you get to enjoy it. Therefore, you get to be present in the moment with it. Then there is choosing gratitude. And one thing that I have said from the outset of this business breakthrough is that for many people, they think choosing gratitude is a list. They think choosing gratitude is writing out 3 things that you can be grateful for today. And I disagree with that. I think gratitude is actually a mindset. It is also a feeling. Gratitude is a disposition, it's a way of being. When you choose to live a life of gratitude, when you choose to live in the miracle of everything you have, waking up with the ability to have a roof over your head, to be safe in that present moment, to be able to pick up your phone and speak to people freely with freedom of speech, to be able to advocate for something that some people in this world do not have the literal freedom to do. As my coach actually said in a training earlier today, to live in a capitalist society where we can just start a business because we want to. Yeah, maybe there's loopholes to go through. Maybe there's visa requirements you have to consider. Maybe there's considerations with your benefits or with your taxes or what your boss might think. But geez, I mean, of all the problems in this world, we can navigate that. They are just obstacles that you need to be aware of, that you need to take the time to solve for. And then don't let it become bigger than it is. Find the answers, get the solutions, know what the parameters are, and then work with that. Have gratitude for this opportunity. Have gratitude that you have become the kind of person that sees the growth opportunities, that chooses to do good in the world, that chooses to become a life coach so that you can help other people. That is such a gift. And when we connect to that, we step out of this entitlement that, oh, I should have more clients though. Where is the money? Where is the next client coming from? Instead, we're in the miracle of like, wow, I actually get to help someone with this. I get to do this. This gets to change someone's life. And then just for a moment, putting aside your needs, putting aside the things that must happen for you to be okay, because the truth is right now you are okay. The things that you're worried about, they are probably things you're worrying about that are actually going to be happening in the future. That if you put all of your energy and attention into what's happening right now in this present moment that's in your control, that's when things get to change. That's when you get to be in control and exercise control. But in order to reach that, being in a place of gratitude, of being in, okay, yeah, shit might not be ideal right now, but at least I get to live this. At least I get to make these choices. And I have options available to me. That is where the magic is. That's how we move through it. And then, of course, step three is appreciating the little things. What I see so often with my clients and with coaches across the board is that we forget to appreciate the little things, right? We forget to recognize the things that are happening, the things that, if that had happened in day one of our business, we would have been like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I just made my first post. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I just got certified. Oh my gosh, I just had a client say yes to working with me. I just had a client leave me a testimonial. I just had a client say yes to paying me. Oh my God, now I need to get a contract in place and I need to figure out Zoom Pro and I need to send the confirmation and like, oh, what do I do? It'll get to a stage where you have standard operating procedures in place for that it's automated. You don't even have to think about. And instead you're thinking, oh, okay, well, I got one client today, but I need three to make my target. Like, oh, like, whoa, 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 whoa. What happened to the good times here? What happened to appreciating those little moments, those little stepping stones? Can we go back to that for a second? Can we go back to like the appreciation of those little things? Because they ain't little, because they're not little, because once upon a time, they were the big things. When we can appreciate these little things and come back to that from that place of I live in gratitude, I live in the romanticism of the fact I get to build this business, that's where we stay connected to the energy of possibility, of potentiality, of creating these things. Notice your energy lift as you're hearing this. Notice the energy rise. I also want you to notice, because I've been, I say things straight. I don't beat around the bush. I don't bullshit you either. Notice if there's a little bit of your brain that feels a little bit like, oh, whoops, I've done this. I promise you. I say these things because I'm a coaching myself on this shit all the time. I'm navigating these thoughts all the time as well. But my ability to move through it, as I always say, and catch it quicker and quicker and quicker, to the extent that sometimes I genuinely don't feel these things because I just live in this space. For you, it's a skill that you're developing. It's a way that you have to be in order for business to feel good. You want business to feel easy? These are the skills that you have to take time to develop. Romanticize your life sounds very fluffy. Actually, as you can see, there's a lot of good business sense behind it. Because by being in this place, that's what gives you the energy. I don't know about you, but when I'm feeling connection to gratitude, when I'm appreciating the little things, when I'm noticing the little wins, I feel more energized. I'm more capable. I'm able to do more. I'm able to give more. And therefore, I receive more. That is just how it works. But it starts with noticing the good intentionally on purpose. Then we choose gratitude. We notice the little things, step 3. And then number 4 is then what do we do when we notice? Is celebrate it. Now, this is a training that this honestly could be a sub training in and of itself. One of the things that I see a lot with coaches is that you stop celebrating every step. Part of the celebration of every step comes from appreciating every step. Appreciation is a form of celebration. When we don't take the time to pause and be in appreciation, you've missed the celebration. Now, celebration is a bit more overt, it's a little bit more outward, but I want to offer another perspective of celebration. What if celebration is an energetic, not an action? That means that if celebration is more than just what you do, but an energetic of how you connect to the thing that was good, the thing that you're appreciating, then that in and of itself is celebration. I get this a lot. Like lots of coaches say to me, Pamela, I don't drink anymore. I can't just open a freaking bottle of champagne every time something good happens in my business. I'm like, yeah, but metaphorically you could, energetically you could. Especially for my projectors out there, those of you who need to practice recognition, because recognition, yes, might be like a signature for us. That's energetic success of signature, or for others, satisfaction, or whatever it is for you, whatever it is you need to feel fulfilled, to be in that signature of alignment. For most of the time, it isn't actually coming from external sources. External things are happening to you all the live long day. Your work is to notice them so that you can give yourself that recognition of alignment, so that you can align within and go, ah, it's working. Ah, I can celebrate this. Oh, a consult's gone in. This is a good sign. It's working. Oh, she said yes on the call. It's working. Doesn't matter they haven't paid yet. It's working. Being in that recognition, celebrating the moments, not waiting for something external like the money to land for it to be worthy of celebrating. Because when you wait, all you're doing is trying to avoid disappointment. All you're doing is trying to stop yourself from being upset that it didn't actually happen, or trying to not get too excited so that, it never actually transpired and you don't want to deal with the aftermath of that. The thing is with that, if it doesn't transpire, you're going to be disappointed anyway. You're just trying to mitigate or trying to eliminate how small the fall is. I argue, if you're going to fall, fucking fall. You're going to hurt yourself doing this, because you can handle it. Because any hurt that you experience in your business is emotional. And emotional pain is manageable. Always. Always. It has to be. Because, like, let's face it, the only way out of emotional pain is what? You either grow from it or you succumb to it. Like, it gets a bit heavy when you actually go all the way there. I ain't going to go there right now, but you know what I'm saying. I'm not going to have to spell it out to you. You're an intelligent person. You work in the field of mental health and well-being. The truth is that we have to become the business owners and the coaches and the humans that recognize that our emotional capacity for handling disappointment is far greater than we are giving ourselves the opportunity to experience. That every time you hold back from celebrating, from romanticizing your life, from being in gratitude, from being in the miracle, from being in the possibility that you could have everything you ever wanted, that if you actually put yourself out there, even when You're not 100% sure you know what to say, even when you're not sure you've got it exactly right, even when it doesn't feel exactly finished, even when you're not 100% ready. But instead, you decide that you want it, you're ready for it. So now is the time to move. Now is the time to take action. When you move from that place, and you remember to celebrate the fact that you did it before anyone tells you if it was any good, that you decide to celebrate the fact that you gave it your all before anyone gives you the validation that it was good enough. That is when you are stepping in your leadership and your authority and your power. When you do that, you become a magnet. You become somebody that people aspire towards. They think, holy shit, if she can do that, maybe I can. This is what it looks like to just be a few steps ahead. This is the energy of celebration. But every time you hold back from celebrating, you are holding back from stepping into more of you, from saying to the universe, I am freaking ready for this. And then actually having the opportunity to experience it. You want the clients, you want the money, you want the success, you want the satisfaction, the recognition. Oh, it's coming, but it's going to require you to go first. But you're not going first, not at the level that you could be. And that's why you don't have those things yet. And if you think you have, and you still don't have those things, it's because right now you're operating at a level of capacity that is maxed out for you. And our work is, and what we do when we work together one-to-one, is that we tap into greater levels of capacity that you don't currently have access to, but you know is available to you because of your desires. There are some desires in this life that you may see from afar and you think, oh yeah, no, that would be nice. I'd love to be a millionaire. Ha ha ha. Whilst no ounce of your body feels a fucking thing when you say it because it doesn't mean anything to you. But when you actually connect to how it might feel to run a workshop one day, and as you open the Zoom and you see that in the waiting room, there are literally 15 people. And for those of you who have already had 15 people, do you know what that looks like? You open the waiting room and you see 50 people. And then for those of you who know what it looks like to open a waiting room and see 50 people, but this time you open it up and there's 99 people, and you think, fuck, it's working, it's happening, it's happened, it's here, it's in front of me. This is it. That is the dream. That, if that made you feel something, that is because that is available to you. And the reason when you open a waiting room and right now, maybe there's one or two people and one of them is your biz bestie or your friend, or one of them's your one client who always shows up for you. And there's a little bit of you that think, oh my God, what must they be thinking? Are they judging me right now? Because they're probably expecting there to be another freaking 10 people on this call and there's one. And you're in that moment, you have to make a decision and you just have to decide that you're just going to have to deliver it anyway because there's someone in front of you and now you've got to just show up for them. In that moment, that is you get to have that moment where you recognize and go, okay, fuck it. Let's own this. Let's give them the best goddamn workshop I've ever given them. I'm going to make it count. I'm going to make it matter. I'm going to give them every ounce of what I've got. And if no one shows up, there's going to be people on the replay. I'm going to sell the replay like my life depends on it. If that makes you feel something, that is your growth. That is the step for you. That's where you're going. That's your next step. And you've got to romanticize these little moments because that's what leads you to the big moments. That's what gets you there. And so step 5 is anticipating the things that are coming up. I want you to just imagine with me, if you're driving, keep your eyes open and stay focused on the road. But as you're hearing my words, let this wash over you. And if you're able to close your eyes right now, let this wash over you. I want you to imagine that the call has finished and that you need to go check your banking app or that you need to log on to your banking app. So you log on to your banking app and picture it right this second, your business banking app, you log into it. And as it opens, there's like sometimes a millisecond where it hasn't quite like tallied up and it needs to roll up. I know my Starling does that. Sometimes it shows me like the last time I opened it instead of what's actually there now because new money's come in. And I want you just to see the numbers like roll up very like it's a millisecond. And now suddenly it lands on a number. What's that number for you? What number is going to get you excited? What number is going to make you just go, oh shit, that feels nice? That feels real safe. That feels really comfy. I'd like it to stay right there and I want it to keep growing, but I always like to know that that's there. That's there for me no matter what. So if I want to spend it on that coaching, I can. If I want to withdraw some, take out some dividends, or I know that my salary is coming out of that, I know that it's coming out and I've got stuff left over, that there's a buffer there. Feel the safety, feel the just normalization of that. Yeah, feel the anticipation of that coming to you. Take a moment to be in gratitude of that, of gratitude of this future event that's going to happen. Commit that to memory. Next time you're meditating and you're taking a moment to visualize, let yourself visualize yourself opening your banking app, seeing the number that you want, and just let your body feel the assuredness, the confidence, the just, it is, that's just who I am now. That's always going to be there. And now come back into the past and into this version of you in 2024 at the time of this recording today, where you get to look forward of that. You get to look forward to that. You get to be in anticipation of that. Imagine that you've ordered it at a restaurant and it's coming. It's done. You've ordered it. The food's there. You just get to wait and enjoy. Yes, it feels good. Yes, it feels good. That's being in anticipation. And we used a bit of visualization to do that. You can visualize anything you want to create. We visualized a busy Zoom call with loads of participants, with loads of clients in there. Maybe it's a free workshop that you visualized and you know that there's going to be a portion of those that become paid clients, either straight away or eventually, but you know it's going to happen. You get to be in anticipation of that. Maybe for you, you visualized a Zoom with paid clients. Maybe for you, it was a group call or a mastermind and it's just full of people and that feels incredible. Get to be in anticipation of that. Romanticize that you're creating that in your business. And then step 6 is nostalgic reminiscing. Nostalgic reminiscing. So I don't like to live in nostalgia. I don't think it's healthy done too much because life is now, right? But just as powerfully as we visualized just then and we anticipated the future memories that we're creating, I want you to look back. And just as I did at the beginning of this episode, I want you to look back and go back to the nostalgic reminiscing of who you used to be. How simple life was when you didn't have a coaching business and you didn't have extra stuff to do on the weekends or on your days off or in the evenings. Going back to having a coaching business, all you had to look forward to was your couple of holidays a year and your nice, sweet little paycheck and worrying about the next promotion and getting pissed off about that annoying person at the office that always winds you up and catching up with your biz bestie and getting blind drunk on a Friday night after work because you didn't really care as much as you probably should have about your liver and you weren't in your 30s or 40s or even 50s and you didn't really care too much about how many bottles of wine you had on a Friday night. Get nostalgic about those things. I do. I look back on that and I think, I miss not caring. I miss the days when it was a Wednesday and I think, fuck it, I'll just have a little glass of red wine because I can. Where on a Saturday or even on a Thursday night, if I wanted to go out clubbing, I would. Jesus, can't remember the last time I went out clubbing. That's hilarious. Well, actually, that's a lie. I technically was in a club on Saturday just gone, but I wasn't drinking and it was daytime. Very different experience to how I used to do it in my corporate days when, let's face it, most of the week I was probably drinking. You can be nostalgic about those times before you had all of the troubles that you have in your coaching business. And recognize the void that leaves. I did this exercise with a client recently and it was so magical. Like I took her to the place where she didn't have a coaching business, where she didn't have the stress of worrying about creating clients this month, where she wasn't overthinking like if she's going to hit her goals, how she's going to leave her 9 to 5, even though she's got a plan, even though things are in place, even though she's got an office she loves, even though she's got a really great marketing and sales strategy that she just needs to execute and show up for, even though she has all these beautiful things in place. The brain's going to brain and it's going to have these moments. So we took it all away, took it all away. And when she went back to the times where she didn't have that, and for those of you who have read The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, who have seen the power of this idea that in parallel universes, there is a version of you that made a choice not to pursue the certification. There's a version of you that made a choice not to become a life coach, that made a choice not to pick up that first ever self-help book or hire that first life coach that changed your life, that made a choice to just stay with what you knew, to stay in the job. Where would your life be today on this date if you took that path? If you never even knew life coaching was a thing, maybe you never pursued it. Reminisce over that parallel universe where this doesn't even exist, where you're not listening to this podcast. Maybe nothing changes in your life. You have the exact life you have now, just without the business, without coaching, without personal development, without your morning routine. Feel the void of that and recognize that you actually really love what you have, that the stresses that you thought you had a minute ago are now gone, that now suddenly that gratitude we were speaking about earlier feels very accessible. Nostalgic reminiscing is powerful on occasion, but we don't want to live there, because where we are now is where the action and the creating happens. And where we're going is the vision and the mission that we're calling in. And then lastly, and as a byproduct of doing these things well, you get to choose happiness. Number 7 is choose happiness. That, as a life coach, is our job. I think it's our work. I'm yet to choose a life coach that hasn't found their way to happiness. You know that beautiful little illustration that you see of like 2 stickmen, and one of them holding a little jar called happiness. And the other one who doesn't have it looks at his jar and says, "Oi, where did you get that from?" And the one holding the jar of happiness just holds it, feeling happy. Just feeling happy that they have the jar. Not looking at other people going, "Oi, where did you get that from?" I believe as a life coach, it is our responsibility, our joy, our pleasure, our privilege to live a life well lived. When you follow these 7 rules of romanticizing your life, you will create a life well lived because your experience of the life you have is lived well. It isn't about the things you have. It isn't about the material things, the people, the places, the things that you do and experience. It's about how you experience them. Nothing on that list was go move country, buy a bigger house, buy nicer clothes, wear makeup, look pretty, get rich. They are all things that you might do out of personal choice because they are just things that we can do as humans in the 3D world. We can go do shit. That's cool. But why? The why beneath it, when you eliminate the material aspects of it, what happens is when you take away the things that you can touch, that you can see, that you can smell, that you can taste, when you take away the senses, what is left is the actual meaning, is the connection, is the 5D. What is left is your experience of the things that you have. That's what matters. So romanticizing your life isn't about the romantic side of life. It's about your experience of life, of becoming a coach who lives a life well lived. I'll recap what the seven are and then we'll wrap up. So, number one is noticing the good intentionally and on purpose. Number two is choosing gratitude and remembering that it's not a list, it's a feeling, it's an attitude, it's a way of life. Number three is appreciating the little things. Number four is celebrating all the things. Number five is anticipating the things that are coming up that are going to happen for you. Number six is nostalgic reminiscing, though we don't live there too often. And number seven is choosing happiness. When you bring all of this together, that's how you learn how to romanticize your life and romanticize your business. So, as always, I love being here with you. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to be part of the Business Breakthrough Challenge, any of our other challenges that happen every other month, and to work with me to get those business foundations in place, to have the mindset and energetic support and spiritual development so that you can be the CEO and life coach in your life and business that builds something so beautiful, so you, so joyful, so enjoyable, then come and work with me. I have spaces for one-to-one. I would love to connect with you. What we'll do on our consults is we connect, build rapport, build that chemistry. Lots of people who connect with me already probably have like met me directly before, or you've listened lots to the podcast. But I know it's different when it comes to actually deciding if you're going to invest and make this decision. So what we do on the call is I need to get an idea of what's going on in your business, where you're at, what's happening right now, the money you've made, what you've done to create the money. So many of my clients find it so valuable, even, before they even start the work, just having that discussion to actually reflect and be like, so this is what I do. This is how I approach it. This is where I'm at with my offer. This is how I feel about everything. So we do that. We have a really good discussion about what's going on in your business right now. We then look at what you want to achieve, where you want to go, what you think those blocks are. And then, obviously, because Thrive is holistic, we look at things from the strategic level as well as the energetic level. I identify two or three things that seem to be the major priorities for you in your business. And I describe to you how working together is going to help you solve those things. And then when that sounds good to you, you can just make the decision. Like by that stage, you'll know in your body if you feel that pull, if you know that this is the kind of support and the level of discussion that you want to be having, and whether or not you would really value that week to week. Knowing that, of course, you get the access to the online program, we get to do audits together. We also then have the 3-hour strategy session where we connect at the beginning of your container to deep dive into basically everything I just said, but at a way deeper level, where we actually then, with that identification of the 2 or 3 priorities, go ahead and implement and make decisions about what needs to change so that you're very clear on what you're going to be prioritizing over the next 6 months. For example, some of you where you're very new in your business, it is literally like signing the first clients, loving your offer, getting used to getting visible, sharing your message, showing up online, being in the mindset of a coaching business owner and really stepping into those business owner shoes. For some of you who have been in the game a while, you're already posting, you're already messaging. So for you, it's like, okay, we need to check that your message is refined. We need to check that your offer is actually making sense, that it's landing. Like maybe there are some tweaks that we need to make with the message itself when it comes to the actual offer and the way that you're thinking about your offer. But for most of my clients who have been in the game a while, they have already had 1 or 2 clients. And now it's about actually normalizing that process and getting a bit more consistency, both in terms of your output so that you can receive more in your business consistently as well. It's really tightening up on a marketing and sales strategy because most clients that come to me simply don't have one. When I say to them, how are you creating clients? Their answer is literally, well, I post and that's it. So actually putting a bit more robustness, a bit more intentionality behind it and adding in the gaps so that you can have a full marketing and sales process so that you know exactly how you're creating clients. and how to work it so that you're never just thinking, oh God, I don't know what to do. Is this even working? That's the number one thing I'm most passionate about when my clients work with me. They can never finish working with me and say they don't know how to create clients. Knowing that is powerful, and implementing that is everything. So that's what we do when we work together. And so when it comes to the consult, yeah, we're discussing exactly where you're at, what you need, what you want to prioritize. And then from at the end of the discussion, you know where you're at. You know if you're in, you know if this feels like the right move for you. And then if it does, make that decision, we jump in, we get started, and off we go. And this 6 months together, yeah, I'm going to hold you to account. I'm going to be having you do things that currently you're not doing in your business, but frankly, need to be done. You'll be elevating the way that you think about business as a business owner. I love equipping my clients to be thinking like CEOs without losing that connection to to their audience and to the people that they want to help, without losing connection to their mission and vision. Because what tends to happen is you either go one way or the other. Like, you're so enthralled in service and connection and love and light and meditation and doing all the spiritual stuff that you really don't lack the business skills. And for others of you, you've actually spent a lot of time investing in the business skills. You've done the courses, you've done the programs, you've had even a business coach in the past. You've really deep dived into certain aspects. Maybe it's your content strategy that you've dived into. Maybe for you, well, for most people, it's diving into content, diving into getting their message out, getting visible, really refining your message. But for you, you're actually missing some really critical gaps in the rest of the client journey. And you're not thinking from the client experience, and that needs to shift. And you're not necessarily thinking commercially about how your business needs to run as a business. So you've got questions like, how am I ever going to go full time? And how am I ever going to scale this thing? And I'm stressing that I'm almost scared to be fully booked because I don't know where we go from there. And that's actually causing you to hold back. And it's stopping you from signing clients right now, even though you have lots of space in your diary. So it's really looking at all this stuff and putting it into place. So it is a very holistic course. It is very focused. We've got the monthly check-ins, you get your audits, you've got the program, you've got weekly coaching so that no matter what happens in life and business, 9 to 5, you have always that opportunity each week to just get some ass kicking, get some loving, compassionate coaching. Sometimes it's more ass kicking, other times it's more compassionate coaching. But no matter what, I make sure that you're loved, that you're well looked after, that I look after you. You've always got someone to bounce ideas off with the in between Voxer. It's a real premium experience because your business, your mission, your vision, your goals, where you're going, you deserve that. So if you're craving that one-to-one connection and that one-to-one support so that you can be the best in your business, one-to-one is for you, hands down. You are ready. If you resonated with this podcast, you are ready. So come and book your consult. I want to connect with you. I cannot wait to dive into your business. I have done enough talking today. This is about you and your time and you getting what you need so that you can be this powerful for your clients. Because I know you're ready for that. You listen to me because what I have, you aspire towards. The time is now to stop watching and waiting and hoping. I want to give it to you, and I can. I'm ready to give it to you. You're ready to receive it. So book your consult. It'll be in the show notes, the link to book your consult. What you'll do is go straight to the landing page. You can read up on all the inclusions, everything that's covered, see all the beautiful testimonials and videos that are there. You choose your price based on your circumstances because I have sliding scale pricing. You choose if you want pay in full or payment plan to suit your circumstances as well. I love having all the options for my clients. And then on the consult, we'll discuss everything about you. And then you can decide if you're ready to really say yes to yourself. In the meantime, go and romanticize your business. Go and romanticize your life. Remember the 7 rules for romanticizing your business. Go have fun with it. Remember, this isn't at the expense of acknowledging the hard things. This isn't at the expense of being realistic. This isn't at the expense of having your shit together and forward planning and dealing with the hard things. Trust me, we do that stuff too. That's actually week 3 of business breakthrough, which is overcoming adversity. So we really are covering every facet. But I tell you, when it's sunshine and roses, damn, there are also rainbows and daisies, and it gets to be beautiful, even when it isn't. Okay? So go have a beautiful life, go have a beautiful business. I'll see you in the consult. And then in the meantime, I'll see you next week. Thanks for joining.